Anderson, host of Star Time, and this is my real voice. Honest, you're hearing it on Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
Should have told her you were sorry.
Something amazing happens when you buckle a seatbelt. It's kind of magic. We put our phones out of reach, like in the glove compartment, or give extra room for someone on their bike. That little act of stopping to let someone cross the street, it's a thing of beauty. Even getting a ride home after drinking is quite heroic, because doing all the little things plays a huge role in keeping us safe on the road. Together, we get there. A message from the Washington Traffic Safety Commission.
What's going on, world? It's your boy OG Mambo
and your guy D Money. Join us along with Pint Size Patron and ID Yourself
here on Fresh Juice at Rainier Avenue Radio
every Wednesday hump day from 9 to 11 Pacific.
Get exclusive interviews from your favorite artists, all the hottest music, and updates on what we got going on in the world.
That's every Wednesday, 9 to 11 p.m. on Seattle's Rainier Avenue Radio.
Hello, listener. What's important to you about what's going on in your community? Are you interested? Are you concerned? In any case, I invite you to tune into my show, Seattle Here and Now, on Rainier Avenue Radio .world. Why? I will be covering a wide range of topics important to you and impacting the community. Each show will have a special guest or guests to share with you information on a variety of subjects that are happening here and now in Seattle. I promise I will work hard to make my show informative, interesting, and entertaining. Be sure to listen to Seattle Here and Now on Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
Welcome to the coronavirus pandemic. I'll take coronavirus for 100. Fever, chills, shortness of breath, loss of taste or smell. What is stay at home and isolate? Correct. Coronavirus for 200. Inability to stay awake, persistent pain or pressure in chest, trouble breathing. What is seek immediate help? Correct.
Coronavirus for 500.
Crippling and potentially dead infectious disease eliminated in the United States with vaccination.
What is the polio vaccine?
Correct.
I'll take coronavirus for 700.
The Daily Double. Should I take the coronavirus vaccine? Wait. Hold up. This is not a game. It's time for serious discussions. We have coronavirus vaccines, but not everyone is comfortable taking them. Here's the facts. Based on what has been proven about vaccines for other diseases, COVID-19 vaccine may help keep you from getting seriously ill, even if you do get the virus. Getting vaccinated also may protect people around, particularly those at greater risk for severe illness from COVID-19. We don't yet have all of the answers. Get informed, talk to your healthcare physician, and make the right decision for you. This is a message supported by the Washington State Department of Health.
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio .world. Don't forget to log on www.rainieravenue radio.world.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Clean Greens Living, broadcasted live on Rainier Avenue Radio. I am your host, Queen Bree. It is a beautiful Tuesday morning, and I am so happy to be here. We acknowledge that we are on traditional land of the first people of Seattle, the Coast Salish people, past and present, and honor with gratitude the land itself and the Duwamish, Suquamish, Nisqually, Snoqualmie, and Muckleshoot tribes. We also acknowledge that what has happened on this land to impact the lives of our Black community in Seattle due to redlining and systemic and oppressive mechanisms of anti-Black families of taking away Black families' opportunities to pass on generational wealth. If you are a family that has been affected by redlining or having to sell your home due to gentrification, please contact us at blackdollardaytaskforce.org or cleangreensfarmandmarket.com and share your stories with us. Dr. Jeffrey and his team are actively trying to find ways to get reparations for families in Seattle that was affected by that. It feels so weird. It's been so long. Last week I went out of town for a family vacation. So I'm trying to get my life together. I was in the background dancing around and Daniel saw me, which was hilarious. I didn't know you could see me, Daniel, but now I know. But anyways, you're going to catch them dances. I was just trying to pump myself up to be here today because today it was hard. I almost was like, I can't do today. I can't do today because So much is going on. So much has happened in this one week of me not being here. So much has happened. Let's see, farm updates. Clean Greens is still thriving, getting our produce out. Oh my God. We go check out our website, our Instagram. We have tomatoes out, squash. Our greens are coming in beautiful and big like they used to be. We're getting kale. We got curly kale coming in. I love curly kale is my favorite. So I'm so excited to see that the curly kale is coming in. Our youth program is thriving. We have our kids. This past weekend, I wore myself out, taking them guys to 2 community events. So I want to give a shout out to our community. I forgot to name one of the other community events, and I'll talk about them next week. But Rainier Beach Community Center had an event this past weekend. I think it was produced by what's the name of that? It's in my head, but I can't think of the name. I'll talk about it in a minute because I know the name. It's in my head. So they have a lot of resources, a resource center. They have back to school information. We took pictures. I can't believe I didn't share these pictures with you, but I'll share them next week. So we had a really good weekend. But with that weekend, and why it is so hard for me to show up this week is because, like, I don't know. Look, I don't even know where to start because 2 people in my world have passed away. One has passed away due to heart disease, heart attack. Another one passed away due to suicide. And both of these deaths are the reasons why I love doing the work that I do in the community. I love doing the work that I do with Clean Greens. But it was so hard for me to show up today because I was just like, I cannot. Like, I'm processing it all, especially the suicide one. I mean, the suicide one really got me. And it got me because, and we talk about this all the time, when I would be in contact with this person, she was always so kind, so loving. We always laughed, had a good time. Like, even the last time I seen her, we were so happy to see each other. We were talking, we were laughing, and just to know that that person was going through some things. And I think we always do these things. We always make it about ourselves, but it's not necessarily about us. But it was like, oh, I wish I would have known. I could have did this and I could have did that. But it's, there's not always, you never really know the signs of someone suffering. But I just really wanted to talk about suicide and talk about and continue to talk about health. This is why I push the talk about getting healthy. This is why I've been talking so much about health with the children, starting with the children, because our health starts from birth. We don't realize that our health starts from birth. How we were raised, what we saw our parents eating, how we saw our parents interacting with food. Also, mental health. A lot of times when we grow up watching our family and our parents deal with mental health and we're not talking about it, it affects us in different ways. And sometimes those ways can result into us as a community, our kids being affected by mental health. So I just wanted to talk about this today. And I want to start, I might sound like I'm all over the place, and I am, because this is life. And I feel like the health part of my uncle, it was my uncle passed away. My uncle, he was my mom's brother. He passed away of a heart attack. Prayers for my family. It's weird because we don't know how to deal with death and emotions. And so as I've gotten older, I really started to really hone in on my emotions and feelings of when people who die near to me, how it affects me. Janet said, yes, it was so heartbreaking. She too is having a hard time processing it. She's talking about the person who died of suicide. Yeah, that really affected me, and I'm trying not to cry. So let's talk about it, okay? We have to talk about it so that we can learn to be healthy and we can learn to show up for our community, for those who are suffering. Look, I'm gonna start with suicide because suicide it's happening. It's 145,979 Americans die of suicide. It is the 12th leading reasons for death. I watched this video so much. I ran away from home, visit in Vegas, visiting my best friend. Um, Woo. Sorry, I was reading the comments. Um, Suicide is real. Mental health is real. And this has affected me in so many ways because I this woman dying of suicide, and I'm not saying her name because I want to be respectful of her family and respectful of the situation. But suicide is not my first, this isn't my first interaction with suicide. And when I was doing the work to find you guys the statistics and looking at the ways that we can help and the symptoms, it just really brought me back to like how I would feel at times where I would feel hopeless. Um, there were times where I was so like frustrated and just felt alone and I was like I just wanted to like I literally wanted to crash my car into a wall with my kids because I thought I can't leave them behind because this world is so crazy and no one cares. No one cares. No one cares but their mom. But in the same token, my kids and my faith was my saving grace. My kids and my faith were my saving grace. So I never committed the act. I've had family members who have dealt with these thoughts and I don't think I was as sensitive as I should have been. Like when I was reading about this, I was like, I don't think I was as sensitive as I should be. So I don't want to call any names out. But if you're listening, sweetheart, I am sorry that I wasn't as sensitive as I should have been. And here's why. I wasn't as sensitive because I was always taught, and like we say when we were raised, we watch these images. I don't remember seeing my mom cry. I don't remember seeing my mom frustrated. When her mom died, I was torn up about it, but she made me stop crying. We talk about this all the time, so I'm pretty sure she's okay with me sharing this story. She made me stop crying. And for me, not recognizing that it was hard for her to show emotions because I was so young, I just internalized that as not showing emotions. So when people died, I was numb to it. And so now as I get older, like I said, I'm working through it. So I almost cried through these statistics and talking about suicide because people are hurting. People are hurting. In 2018, suicide rates skyrocketed. In the crisis happens for people. It can last for moments, and if there's no one there talking to them, if there's no one there showing up for them, some people end up taking their lives. 90% of the people who are committing suicide or have committed suicide deals with mental health. This is why I say mental health is so real, y'all. We take for granted when people are talking about how they feel tired, how they feel hopeless, when they withdraw. I used to be a type of person when people would withdraw from me, I would take it personal. If you find it that someone is withdrawing from you, don't take it personal. Just reach out and show them and let them know that you're there. Because a lot of people that withdraw are withdrawn because they feel hopeless. They're withdrawn because they feel burdened. Some people are jerks, but don't take that. Don't just try. As long as you try, you're doing what you can. Um, I just really wanted to talk about this so that we as a community can find ways to really help those who are dealing with mental health crisis. Um, some signs that people do, and I've noticed this, so I had to reach out to a family member as well because I just wanted them to know that I'm there. They withdraw, they have mood swings, lack of energy. What else? I seen one thing where they said some people go around doing this visit where they start visiting everyone and getting their affairs in order and giving away their belongings, just randomly giving out belongings and going around saying goodbyes. Those are just some tips. If you're just tuning in, You're tuning into Clean Greens Living, broadcasted on Rainier Avenue Radio. I am your host, Queen Bree. I am here. I apologize if I sound like I'm all over the place. We're talking about suicide, and I hope that we can move into health too, because I had 2 deaths this week that really impacted my life. 2 people that one was a family member, my uncle. One was a church member. Just loved her to pieces. She was always so sweet. She taught us a hula dance. I always hoped that we could do that hula dance again with her, but unfortunately we're not going to be able to. But I just really wanted to just talk about this. Ways that we as a community can show up for people. And we don't necessarily have to go get into people's business, y'all. We don't have to be like, oh, you withdrawing. So you thinking about committing suicide? It's not about that. It's about just really showing up for people. If you see someone who may be having a hard day, or they snap on you or they say something, try not to internalize it. Because you. Maybe, and I'm not saying take abuse. I am definitely not saying take abuse. What I'm saying is that some people have a hard time expressing how they feel. And so sometimes it comes off in anger. Sometimes it comes off in they don't answer your phone calls or they don't show up to events. It's just showing up and showing love. Showing up and showing love. And I want to talk about ways that us as a community can try to help. And these are just some tips. I am not a professional doctor, so please seek professional help, mental health doctors, your doctor or our counselor. But these are just tips that I looked up and things that I've always tried to do as a person of a follower of Christ and just a human being. I mean, you don't necessarily have to, of course, I believe in God, I believe in Christ, but you don't have to be a religious person to do these basic things, which is show up for people. Empathize with how they feel. A lot of the times, even when I was growing up, and it stuck with me, when I would express how tired I am or I was having a bad day, an adult would tell me, "What are you tired about? What are you having a hard day about? Life is hard." And I do that too. And I gotta stop doing that because people's feelings are valid. Not everybody can handle emotional stress or trauma like the rest. And it is important for us to show up and empathize with things that people are going through. Try not to be judgmental. Please stop judging people. We all have our own things that we go through. We all have our own things that we've done that we're ashamed of, that we will hope people don't know. Sometimes people do find out, but try not to be judgmental. Try to openly listen when someone is telling you how they feel. How someone feels and what they're telling you, you cannot internalize it. A lot of the times people internalize when people are just trying to express how they feel. We all have our different experiences, even when we grow up in the same house. A lot of the times siblings can grow up in the same house and have different experiences. I even realized that with me and my brother as I get older, we got 2 different moms. I got the young mom who was single, working, trying to figure her way through life. She was young parent when she had me. My brother got the older, more calmer version of our mom, the mom who realized that I don't have to react this way in order to get what I need to get across. When you live in families, sometimes you're going to get a different experience. But just because a family member is expressing how they feel does not invalidate your experience. So just listen. Listen to people. Oh, my mom said I got the crazy version of her. Listen, and I did get the crazy version of my mom, but I am so appreciative of these times where me and my mom both have grown and we have this very frustrating, she's still crazy, y'all, but she's hilarious. And we are able to build our relationship. And I'm getting to learn her on a more grown up, different level. I'm getting to know about the woman and not about my mom. I'm getting to know about the woman of who she is. A lot of the times we look at people as our mother, our parents, our kids, but these are human beings going through human experiences. And we have to really show up for them and encourage them. And if we find that they have low activities, if we find that they're struggling, let's get out and take them out to get some fresh air, take them out to get a walk, find ways to help them get through their moment of hopelessness and sadness and feeling like they just want to end it all. And the things that I'm talking about today, I can't say that it's going to fix the problem, but it's helpful. It's helpful to show up for people. I know when people show up for me, it's helpful. It makes me feel better. When I get these random compliments from people, it really, like, they really come on time. I can be having a bad day and somebody will come and they will lift me up. And for me, I feel like that is them allowing Christ to use them and to lift me up, because the words that they say, they don't even know what I'm going through. They know me, but they don't know what I'm going through. And they speak on things that I am struggling with. And so I never take that for granted. And these are ways that you can show up for people. For those of you who may be struggling, I just want you to know that you're not alone and that we are here. There are people that are actually here that want to help you. Mental health, they say 90% of it is due to mental health. And I know in our Black community, we're just now starting to really talk about mental health and what that means for us and how we deal with it. There is even, if you're looking for a mental health specialist and you want a person who looks like you, there is a Washington State therapy. I think it's WA therapy. You can look for a mental health specialist, and if you cannot afford it, they can help you for free. So it's really about making sure that we are on top of our mental health. I personally, people always say I share too much, but I share so much sometimes of my life because sometimes people need you to be real. People need you to be real. They want you to show up in your authentic self. They don't want someone glossing over the situation. And when you show up real and authentic and you share a piece of you, people understand that it's not just them. Like, it's not just me going through this. I suffer from anxiety and depression. I actively take pills for anxiety and depression. And what I do is when I'm feeling very overwhelmed, I go for a walk. Walking helps clear my mind. Walking gives me a fresher breath air. Walking pumps me up for my day and my moments. And those are things that help me get through. So look, I sound like those info commercials. I am not only an advocate, I am also a person who has been affected by the things that I've talked about. No, I have never gotten to the point where I have tried to kill myself, but I've had thoughts. I have had thoughts of wanting to end it all and protect me and my family from just the world. And then growing up in a church, growing up under the lens of my uncle was the pastor, my grandfather was a pastor. So growing up in the church was very hard for me and my family. A lot of times people, we're human beings having a human experience with people, but people will see us in a different light because we are the pastor's family. He is the pastor. And so they would have these expectations, and we all struggled to try to live up to those expectations. And when we didn't and failed, it would be hard on us. It would be so hard on us. And so we had to work through ways to get through that. And I share that because people will say the most heinous things to pastors' families. And it's like, do you not realize that we're just like you, trying to make a life for ourselves? We're trying to work on our walk with Christ. I used to always say to my uncle and my grandfather chose their path. We didn't choose this. We are just the passengers in the car ride with them. Now, of course, I have chose the path, but I chose that path because I did my work. But people sometimes, they don't know how to do the work because no one's showing up for them. No one's talking about it. No one's being real about it. Another statistic that I saw that is important for us to talk about is that men are 3.9 times more likely to end their lives than women. Men. And I get it. The burden of having to be masculine, the burden of having to take care of yourself and others, the burden of having to be strong all the time. And I think that us as a community, as a Black community, and as culture, because suicide affects white men more than anyone, but this culture that we've created of how a man should be versus how a woman should be, and the burdens that it puts on us and weighs heavily on us. I think that as we show up for ourselves and we ask men to show up for women and show up for Black women, we should be showing up for our men as well and our Black men as well. Showing up, letting them know that it's okay to cry. It's okay to show emotions. It's okay to feel. It's okay for our men to get counseling. Getting counseling and seeing a therapist does not make you weak. Suffering from mental health does not make you weak. A lot of things, and a lot of the things that we'll learn as we go, is that a lot of this stems from birth and up. How your mom was feeling, what she was going through when she was pregnant with you, translate into the baby. How we feed our children, how we take care of our children, how we take care of ourselves affects a lot of what we're going through. And it does not make us weak as humans. What makes us weak as humans is when we try to invalidate someone's feelings or when we invalidate our own feelings. It's important for us to sit with ourselves and be real. Like, it was so hard for me. I have been dealing with some emotional strongholds because I refuse to sit with myself and validate my feelings and say it was okay. You're not weak. You're a human being that was going through human emotions that you weren't really taught how to process. And it's not a bad thing because the person who raised you wasn't taught how to process that. I come from a family of young parents. My grandparents were young parents, so it's not their fault. But at some point, as individuals, we got to figure out for ourselves how we can move forward and work through these things. Now, I have some tips for those of us who suffer through, not suffer, who work through mental health, who are every day waking up, finding ways to be actively helpful. Now, my tips are not talk to your doctor, get with your mental health specialist. Sorry, I just thought I saw something scared me. Get with your mental health specialist. But things that have helped me and helped my family, my husband talks about doing a mental health budget. And I never thought about it. A mental health budget is important. Just like you do a financial budget, do a mental health budget. Get with yourself and see what is mentally taxing for you. What makes you feel good? What makes you not feel good? Try to eliminate what makes you not feel good and give to more that what makes you feel good. A lot of the times I've always heard this where we talk about family. Like, this is your family, this is your mother, this is your father, this is da 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 da. You have to be there. You have to be around them. If they are triggering you and bringing you to the point where you want to kill yourself, it is okay to take a step back and work with yourself. It is okay. Get with people who love you. Get physically active. Learn a new skill. Give to others. When I stopped focusing so much on myself and when I stopped focusing on myself and focusing more on others, it also helped because when you really focus on yourself, it intensifies. Janet, I'm looking at the text message. Do you want me to read it out or was this just for our personal? Let me know and I'll share it. Practice mindfulness, staying in the moment. When you're starting to feel frustrated and pressure, take a step back, focus on something, and take deep breaths and remind yourself. And also what helped me too was writing down our thoughts, writing out your thoughts, whether good or bad, being present with your thoughts. Really quick, can I read this really quick? Depression is, I'll read it. I'll share it later, Janet, because you haven't told me if it's okay. My time is up. Thanks for sharing, Janet. I really appreciate your love and support. These are the suicide hotlines. If you are LGBTQ suffering from mental health, that's a link, and statistic on suicide website. You guys check these out. I'm going to continue this talk next week because it is very important, and we'll continue to do the work. Thanks for tuning in.